Hello, my name's Pete Rawlinson and I'm Vice President of Marketing for AppSense. I'm going to spend the next few minutes talking to you about user environment management, or what we call UEM, a term you might have heard bandied around in the industry, especially in desktop virtualization, for a number of months now, something that AppSense is proud to have coined kind of our own terminology. And rather than give you a kind of a straight definition of what user environment management is, I think I'd start by giving you kind of a bit of a comparison, a scenario that happens in lots of organizations around the world. Put yourself in a position of a new employee starting a job in a new company, okay? You walk in day one and IT give you a laptop or a desktop. The moment that IT give you that desktop, what does it have on it? Well, it has an operating system. It has applications which the organization has given to you as an employee as kind of productivity tools, right? Now, what do you do when you open up that laptop first time? You start to personalize it, right? You start to put your name in there. You start to put your email signature in there. I don't like the screen resolution. I want to change it. I want to change the wallpaper. There are all kinds of things that you do to that machine, to that desktop, to make it yours. And if you're a knowledge-based worker, that's extremely important. The last thing you want is a plain vanilla desktop. Now, take it from IT's perspective. The moment that IT give you that desktop, they start to lose control. The more you personalize, the more you make it yours, the less control IT have over that desktop. The less control they have, the more expensive it becomes to manage, right? Now, couple that with the fact that these laptops are distributed around the world in multiple different contexts. Employees are installing their own applications on there, albeit productivity applications, just not corporate standard, in order to do their jobs. And you soon get to a point where you have thousands of entities out there, these desktop images, which are expensive to manage. And this has been a problem for many, many years in organizations around the world. Management of the desktop has become an increasingly expensive proposition. And sure, interim solutions have come to market, such as PC lifecycle management, patch management, in order to kind of reduce the cost of desktop management, but still it increases. Now, with the advent of desktop virtualization technology, organizations now have opportunities to significantly reduce the costs of managing these disparate entities by getting all assets of the desktop, operating system, applications, data, centralizing all of that in one location and providing it to a user as and when that's required, right? So let me just go to the whiteboard. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. A corporate operating system and a corporate set of applications are extremely cheap to manage, much cheaper than if they are personalized and distributed around the world, okay? What desktop virtualization enables to happen is companies like Citrix, VMware, have technologies that enable a standard gold image corporate OS and standard application sets to be in just one location. And for these different assets to be provisioned, streamed, virtualized down to a user on demand. When the user finishes using those assets, that desktop image is essentially destroyed. What does that mean? That means you only have one location to manage your OS and applications. That means anytime you want to upgrade an OS, anytime you want to swap out an application or patch an application, it just needs to be done from one location where thousands of users automatically get that new updated virtual image. Sounds fantastic, okay? We're missing something. Let me take you back to that first day you walk in the office with that laptop. That first minute you get that laptop and you start doing what? Personalizing. In this scenario, this user does not have a personal environment. And as such, pretty miserable about that. Not just miserable, but pretty ineffective. In fact, most organizations that we find have almost zero adoption rates when you take a standardized virtual image and make users use it, okay? This is where AppSense come in. This is where user environment management comes in. We actually redefine the desktop as being not just corporate apps and corporate operating systems. We actually define another layer on top of that. And that layer is the user environment. So effectively, what is user environment management? It is abstraction of all elements of the user, all unique, non-standard elements of the desktop, abstracting them into an independently managed layer. This layer is added on to standardized gold image OS and applications as and when required. So what are we talking about when we talk about what constitutes the user environment? Well, we're not just talking about changing your wallpaper or changing your screen resolution. We're also talking about those things that the organization has deemed a business rule for you as a user. What applications you can access, what network drives you can access, what printers you can access. All contextual, so that different printers may be available in different locations, called printer proximity. The user environment also consists of applications that the user wants to install themselves, which may not be part of the corporate OS, corporate apps. It's also vital for the user environment to be able to be provided into this low-cost standard image using a variety of different delivery mechanisms, whether it's locally installed, whether it's streamed, published, provisioned, across multiple delivery mechanisms, multiple operating system versions, multiple application versions. The whole user environment needs to be selectively injected into a desktop when the user requires it. So what's the benefit? What do we get from this? Well, significant cost savings by IT only needing to provision standard OS and standard applications into the desktop, significant reductions in desktop management and desktop storage on the virtual server side, but most importantly, positive user adoption. Having all elements of the user, what we call the user personality, across thousands of users, centrally managed and injected into low-cost standardized desktops on demand, provides huge user adoption. In actual fact, our goal at AppSense is to provide user and management solutions where the user doesn't even realize that they're using a virtual desktop. A full PC-type experience from a low-cost standardized virtual desktop. And in a nutshell, that's user environment management. We're seeing it adopted globally by a number of large organizations. And although it's still early days for desktop virtualization, we see this third layer of the desktop as an essential layer of the desktop. So thanks for your time. If you need more information, please visit us at www.appsense.com. Thank you.